Okay, today we are making tomato juice. We have our tomatoes, the last of the garden tomatoes, and we have everything all washed up and ready to go. We have a young man that's going to help us today. And now we're going to run them through the pureer. Go ahead, Cyrus, start it up.
And what are you using to puree them?
This is my Oyster Kitchen Center. It's about 35 years old. I imagine it's going to die someday, but we'll use it until it does. Okay, so what we have here now is the skins and the seeds. Stuff we're not going to use. And here we have our tomato juice. This is a contraption I use for making spaghetti sauce and tomato juice and tomato soup and ketchup, paste. I use it for everything. Pizza sauce. Okay, after we get all done running the tomatoes through, I take the seeds and the skin and run it back through one more time to get all that yummy juice out of there. We're getting quite a bit more. So far I've run about 700 pounds of tomatoes through my processor this year, so it really gets a workout. It's a pretty tough piece of equipment.
And how do you store all your sauces and your juice?
I can everything. We'll show you some later. Here's some salsa that we've got canned up for this year. We've got some other stuff downstairs, but I just like to can. I like canning better than freezing, so we can up everything. I have thousands of jars. Okay, now if we were going to make this into paste, this is the perfect consistency we want it. We have it heated up, and all the solids have risen to the top, and the juice is on the bottom. So you would take out the solids and put it into a towel over a container and let it drain out, and that is the easiest way to make paste. Perfect down here. You got to dig down quite a ways to find the juice. It's going to be a couple inches down. But we're going to turn this into tomato juice, so I'll just stir it up and mix it together.
You leave all the pulp in there?
I'll leave all the pulp in there. Yep. Okay, there's two different methods for canning tomato juice. There's the pressure canner, and there's the hot water bath. Pressure canner, you have to use the actual canning jars so they don't explode. And the hot water bath, you can use, mayonnaise jars, whatever.
As long as they're glass.
As long as they're glass, yes. It's always a good idea to throw a little bit of lemon juice in. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice into each quart. 1 tablespoon per pint. Just to keep the acidity level where you want it.
What happens if you don't?
Well, then you can have problems with, I suppose, botulism or something. I've never had a problem with that. And you always want to put hot liquid into hot jars. So these jars have been heating up in the water. You have to read the directions on your canner. Mine calls for 3 quarts in there.
Of water?
3 quarts of water. Yeah. Okay, now we're just going to fill these with the hot juice. You fill them to 1 inch from the top. You can add seasonings to it before you can it if you want to. I usually don't. I just have it plain, and if we want seasonings, I add that later. Kind of depends on what I'm using it for.
What do you use it for?
I usually use it for making soups and stews and chili and things like that. So you already have the seasonings that you put in. We don't usually drink it as just tomato juice. Take a damp paper towel and we just wipe the edges off, and while you're doing that you're also checking for cracks and chips out of the glass. If you find any of that, it's not going to seal, so you don't want it to have cracks or chips in it. And we're going to take our lids, which have been sitting in warm water.
What you got there?
This?
Mm-hmm.
This is just a magnet jar grabber, so I don't have to burn my fingers. Alright. And you want to put the rings on. Make sure you tighten them up nice and snug. And then we're going to put those in the canner. Mine fits 7. I think you'll notice if you use all wide mouth, you won't be able to fit them all in there though. So I have a mixture of both. And then you want to put your lid on. Make sure you put that in all the way. And now we're going to let it exhaust steam out of here until this little button here pops up. And that takes 10 minutes or so. Okay, our little button's popped up. Now we take this little weight and we're going to put this over the top of this little spout. And now we wait until our pressure builds up to 11 pounds. And then we're going to keep it at 11 pounds by adjusting the temperature of the flame, or the height of the flame, for 15 minutes.
How long does it take to rise?
A couple minutes. Well, there we are at 11 pounds. And now we just got to keep adjusting our heat to keep it right at that 11 mark. And we've set our timer for 15 minutes. And we just wait. It's a good idea to not leave the room while it's doing that. Now our tomato juice has reached its 15 minutes. And so I took it off the heat, and you leave the weight on. Don't mess with anything. I just took it off the burner just because I need the burner for something else. So we're just going to let that cool. We're not going to do anything with it until this drops down. And then you can take that off, but I usually just walk away and leave it. I don't take them out until they're cool. I have these already. We did the same process as we did for these. Now we're going to put these into a hot water bath. Now this is a little different. You want the water deep enough to cover the jars by about 1 inch. I'm going to scoop some of this water up because I've got too much, and hopefully I'll guess right here. One last jar. It's about how I want it. Now we're going to leave that heating until it comes to a boil. Okay, now you can see we have our hot water bath is at a boil there. Now we're going to keep the cover on, set our timer for 45 minutes. Now the advantage to this method is it's faster, but you have to stay here and watch it. This one, you set your timer and walk away. I prefer the pressure canner because it's faster, but if I'm busy and I have a lot of other things I should be working on, then I choose this method because I can just walk away. And here we have our completed project. These 7 are the ones we took out of the hot water bath. These 7 are the ones we took out of the pressure canner. There seems to be a little more separation with these. All these lids have popped. Very satisfying sound to listen to them pop, because after that all your work is done, that means there you go. There's the sound of a lid popping. After all your work, success.